Hello! It's time for my review of Pokemon Masters! Yay! I don't usually play a lot of real-time strategy type of games. This one, even though it's real-time, it still has a little bit of turn-basedness to it, so it's a little bit easier for me to play, but I'm generally not a good, like, think really quick on your feet kind of person. Like, I'm more of a take my time and strategize. I'm not good at the very, like, press all the buttons, make the things happen, boom! I like to take my time and be able to press the buttons at my own pace and not have to worry, because like when it's super fast paced, I get really like anxious and nervous about what's going on and like, am I doing things good? And I'm just like, too much. But even though this one is faster paced than a typical game, because it's kind of got a little bit of a like, oh, well, it's their turn, so they're gonna go next no matter what, and then it's my turn, and then it's their turn, but like you can go twice too, depending on how fast you're going. That makes it a little bit easier for me to just be like, okay, hang on, relax, it's okay. Yes, I will press the buttons as fast as I can, but it's gonna be fine. Once I got over the freaking out because everything was really fast and I didn't know what I was doing, it got a lot better, and that's probably an understatement because I played
10 hours.
That's accurate. When you're playing the game, the clock doesn't appear on your phone, so I had no idea what time it was. I do have a watch, and finally I was like, oh, it feels like it's pretty late. Like, it's definitely after 10 o'clock. I should check oh, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Now that I've gone through the basics of me like getting into the game, I'm gonna give you a summary of the story of the game. Don't worry if you haven't played the game yet, like I'm not gonna spoil anything yet. The story of the game is you're on this island called Pasio. It's a man-made island. And the island is having this like 3-on-3 team tournament. You can get more than like 3 people on your team, which doesn't fully explain that super well, but I think when you actually do the tournament battles, it's gotta be 3. Like a sports team, right? Like if you have a basketball team or a soccer team or something like that, you'll have a bunch of people on your team, but only a certain number of people are on the field at the same time. It's like that. So you can have like, I have 30-something people on my team technically, but only 3 people can actually like go fight in the tournament. Just like your typical Pokemon game, you've got some different rivals. There's a friendly rival and there's a competitive rival. There's also an evil team that wears masks that you'll see a lot. And just like a typical game, you get badges and you need those badges to get into the tournament. You level up, you learn new skills and things like that. One of the differences from regular games, your trainer actually has certain skills. So your Pokemon has skills and your trainer has skills, and those kind of go together to form the 4 moves that you can do for each character. For example, your main character can use Potion to heal, but it can also, you have a Pikachu, so you can use Thunder Shock. The 4 moves that you have are like a combination of those, and you also have passive abilities, which are kind of like abilities in Pokemon like Rough Skin or something like that, but they're not necessarily just about the Pokemon. They can also be about the team as a whole or about the trainer. For example, you get a character who makes it so that your speed can't be reduced. The combination of trainer abilities and Pokemon abilities makes it definitely seem more like the anime, where you have like trainers calling out like go and like do this and yeah, Thunder Shock, and then the Pokemon does the thing. I'm using my hands a lot for some reason. Yeah, so that's really cool because it does feel like you're in the anime, and all the different trainers are directly from the games, so it also, that feels very like anime-ish. Oh, another difference from the battling in the video games is that your Pokemon's types are a little bit different. Each Pokemon has one weakness, and then if you use a move of that type, like the weakness type, it does double damage. But there are no resistances, there's no immunities, there's none of that. So like that is very simplified. They want to show you the weaknesses on the screen because otherwise it would be incredibly difficult to play. Since Paseo is a man-made island, there are no Pokemon that you can catch. It's only the trainer's Pokemon that they have with them that are used. So like in a typical Pokemon game, you know, you'd have youngster Joey with his Rattata, right? And then you would catch a Rattata and then you'd be like, oh, this is a normal type Pokemon. Since you can't catch them, if this was the only Pokemon game you played, or even if you just generally aren't a super huge Pokemon nerd and know all of the Pokemon and their types, then it would be really hard to play. Like for me, I'm just like, oh yeah, that Pokemon should be weak against this and this and this, but like, you gotta think about the typical like casual-y type gamer might not necessarily know everything about all of the Pokemon, especially because there are so many and so many different generations and not everybody has played all of them. So if you want to bring in like the Gen 1ers or something, you have to show those types on there. And since it would be difficult to show if like a Pokemon had 5 weaknesses and like 3 resistances all on one screen when you have 3 Pokemon and then 3 Pokemon below, it's like that's impossible. So instead they just do 1 weakness and that's it. It kind of makes the type matchups interesting in a way. You can't just be like, well, water Pokemon are really good because, you know, they're strong against a lot of different types, or, you know, oh, fire types, they're fantastic. Like in Generation 1, like Dragon and Psychic were both pretty good types. By getting rid of like the plethora of weaknesses and resistances and everything, it does kind of make the types a little bit more equal because, you know, it's just like each one is just gonna have 1 weakness. Like that's just how it is. Tips for new players: if you're just starting off, you want to make sure that you pull right away. So as soon as you get through like the tutorial-ish part, you'll have like a shop area where you can recruit new sync pairs, and you want to do that immediately. One of the really cool things when you're first starting out right now, I don't know if this is going to be like a forever thing or if this is just like at the beginning of the game, but when you start, you can automatically pull 1 5-star character. The 5-star characters right now are the highest level characters in the game, the highest like ability characters, like they're the best ones. They're the ones that you want. And so being able to pull 1 automatically is fantastic. You will also get a 5-star character right in the beginning of the game. And she is very good. Like, you should definitely have her on your team. Any YouTuber you watch who's talking about this game right now will tell you, like, as soon as you get that 5-star trainer, like, keep her. She's very good. She has some crazy abilities that I'm not gonna get into because I'm trying to keep this non-spoiler, but yeah, she's really good. Also, make sure you prioritize what you use your items on. The shop resets its items, I think like every month or so. It's something like every 30 days, which takes a long time. So there are certain items like evolution items that cost less the first time you buy them, and then they cost a lot more. Like you get a discount the first time and then it gets to be kind of crazy. So make sure you think like about what Pokemon you want to evolve, because you know you might not evolve another Pokemon for like 30 days. So just be careful with that. Also, if there's a particular trainer that you want to start with, you can always re-pull. Like you just kind of do that restarting thing. There are other videos that talk about that, like on other people's channels, so I'm not gonna go like super in depth, but you can always just like re-pull and get different characters. So like if you really want a specific character, just, you know, do that. Alright, so I think that if I go into spoiler territory, this video is going to get too long. So I'm gonna post another video in the near future that talks a little bit more about spoilers, including the characters that I've pulled so far and some certain things that I'm noticing about the game that I can't talk about without like spoiling it for new players. So stay tuned for that. If you want to see that video, make sure you subscribe and like this video if you think it was cool.